All right, all right, all right. You are now rocking with the best, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to another exciting, exhilarating episode of the and new wrestling podcast. I am, of course, your host, KD Drummond. Say what's up to my people, Pat.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the greatest in wrestling coverage that you could ever hope to get. It is the Four Horsemen. Shouts out to Will Steele. He wasn't able to make it today, but he is very much here with us, and he'll be back next week. But we got a lot to talk about, man.
We do. And of course, that is Patrick No C Walker. Find him on Twitter at Voice of the Star. And of course, we have the one and only Mr. Josh, the Josh Rodriguez. Say what's up to the people, Josh.
Josh, the Josh Rodriguez of Film School University. Let's get to it, boys.
Yeah, let's get to it. We have a lot to cover. We had kind of a slow Monday Night Raw. Obviously, we're heading towards SummerSlam. That's going to be the main thing. So make sure that you're subscribing to us on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitter, and New Wrestling. And if you're on Instagram and New Wrestling Pod, make sure that you're following us on pretty much any platform. Spotify, Apple, find the podcast there, the videos there, the audio's there, every way that you can imagine to keep track of us. You definitely want to be tuned in because SummerSlam is coming, and this is, of course, one of the big four PLEs. And before we even talk about that, and it's a whole different world, right? And again, everybody knows I'm new to this, so I'm kind of experiencing the whole ebb and flow of storylines and how things go with the matches. There's nothing compared to what happens in the PLEs, where you get the top-notch performances from each of the wrestlers. It really is it's not even just one step up from the regular weekly shows. It's like a couple levels above when it comes to the action that we get. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This is going to be my first big one that we're covering. But before we get to that, let's talk about something that may or may not impact, because there's actually a betting line on this. The Wyatt Sicks made their first physical action this past week. So we saw the three of them come to the ring against Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. We saw Abigail come off the top turnbuckle. It was really exciting to see. But I want to ask you guys, how do you feel things have gone with the rollout of the Wyatt Sicks storyline? Are you happy with everything that's been going on? Is there anything that you would improve? Like, what are your thoughts on the whole storyline?
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Let me say really quick. I am thankful that we are done with the vignettes. I like them. I really appreciated them, but I was ready to finally see some in-ring action. And the fact that they debuted the very last vignette along with some in-ring action and some actual moves, they unveiled some moves. I'm so done with that. I can't wait to see what they come up with next. It is going to be one of the best debuts already. I mean, it is, but in-ring debuts, I think it is going to be worth the prices of admission, worth all of the hype that's built up to this moment.
Right. Listen. And let me correct myself, because the week before we got Howdy doing the Sister Abigail, right? So we got that last week, and then this week we saw everybody else get into the action. So let me fix that.
Moves.
Yep.
All I can say is let's start it off with one word. Finally. Okay? Because first of all, as far as to answer your question, Katie, as far as my take on the debut and the overall rollout of the Wyatt Sicks, I think it's been masterpiece theater. This has easily, and this is not me being a prisoner of the moment, I think Josh can attest to this, and so can many others who are lifelong wrestling nerds such as ourselves. This has been up there with one of the best debuts and rollouts of a faction ever in the history of any promotion. And it's must-see TV. We can't get enough of it. We find ourselves craving it every single week. And that was prior to them actually getting in the ring and getting their hands dirty. And then a couple weeks ago, we finally saw them get their hands dirty when Bo Dallas comes out after his vignette, his Q&A with Uncle Howdy, his second Q&A with Uncle Howdy, I believe. And then he basically baited Chad Gable into calling him out. He gets jumped by Chad Gable and the New Look Creed brothers. And then what's he doing? He's cackling the whole time. Then the next week he hits him with the Sister Abigail, Chad Gable with the Sister Abigail. And now this week, here we are, Chad Gable. And now you're starting to feel like every time Chad Gable is in the ring, you're going to get the Wyatt Sicks, but it still feels unpredictable because you don't know what comes next with them. And seeing Abigail the Witch, a.k.a. Nikki Cross, fly off of the top rope, the top turnbuckle, right? Fantastic. But then you're thinking, is this it? Are we only going to get that? Which in and of itself was still nums, right? It was nums. But then what do you get? You get Rambling Rabbit and you get everybody else. getting their hands dirty as well, beating up on the Creeds, beating up on Chad Gable, and then it's funny because I was sitting right next to Josh, and he lied to me, okay, because I was like, wait a minute, did that graphic just say that it's an official in-ring match for Wyatt Sicks on Raw to follow SummerSlam? And he's like, no, that just says they're going to be in the ring. And then later on, he was like, you know what? I think you're right. At the end of the day, Wyatt Sicks, they're finally getting action. I have no words for it. I'm so ready for it. The biggest thing, Katie and Josh, was after that magnificent debut where they left everybody bloodied and beaten in the back. Question was, how can you follow up on that? Right? You can't afford to drop the ball at all. And they've just constantly raised the bar ever since. And now after SummerSlam, we get to see them put hands on Chad Gable and company. And I cannot wait.
And all of that despite USA and Sci-Fi cutting away abruptly.
They did it again.
From
Stop
the Wyatt
cutting
Sicks.
away from the Wyatt Sicks. Just stop it. Just stop it. What are you doing?
There's something to be said in TV land about knowing that you can cut away because you're guaranteed to have the people come back on the other side of the break. And I think that's what they're leveraging here, but it's pissing everybody off.
We're not even going to go on that tangent this week. Go watch the last episode if you want to understand.
Exactly.
And you should have seen every episode by now, right?
For sure.
I'm talking to you. You're sitting there watching this right now. Yeah, okay, of course you did, because you're subscribed too, right? Oh, great. All right.
Absolutely.
Cook.
Pound that subscribe button. So one of the things that's interesting is that I ran an article. Obviously, you know that we have a partnership with Sporting News, and we do all of their wrestling coverage over there. I have an article up earlier today talking about the odds for SummerSlam, and so we're going to integrate that into the conversation here. There are odds on whether or not the Wyatt Sicks is actually going to make an appearance in Cleveland at SummerSlam. And when I wrote the article earlier today, the odds were -130 no, -110 yes. That's been shifted to now -140 at the time of this recording on Tuesday evening. It's now -140 no, +100 yes. So the odds are that the Wyatt Sicks are not going to be involved in SummerSlam, but you know who is going to be involved in SummerSlam? Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, who once again had another in-ring moment. This is becoming habitual. Like, Braun does not know anything other than to try to punish Sami, but not this time, buddy. This time, Sami came out on top in the battle on Raw, leading up to the big kicks to the chin, leading up to the battle on Saturday. That is going to be one of the best matches that we have in front of us. So let's talk about that match right now. Let's see what the odds are on this one. We have Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is a whopping -3,000. -3,000. That means that you would have to bet $300 to make $100 on this one. Sami Zayn is +900. That means a $100 bet gets you another 900 for Sami to emerge victorious. Do you agree with the odds? What do you guys think is going to happen in this match? Start with you, No-C.
Well, I was going to toss it to Josh real quick because I know how passionate he is about what happened at Money in the Bank. So let's start off with the Josh.
Let's do that.
All right. Fair enough. I really hated the booking. Obviously, we all know this. We're 5 episodes in. I hated the decision to not give the belt to Braun Breaker. I think regardless of what the WWE schedules, rights, however you want to say it, predetermines, Braun Breaker's taking that fucking belt.
That's how you feel?
You think he would even go off script? You think he's that maniacal?
He will take that. He will pry that belt out of his hands. I'm telling you right now, he is leaving Cleveland with the Intercontinental Championship. I'll cut a promo for Braun Breaker.
And you know what? And I venture to agree. And Braun Breaker is a habitual line stepper, first and foremost.
Absolutely.
He is a habitual line stepper, and I, for one, love it. But going back to, the first couple of episodes that we had with the A&W podcast, and, like I told Josh at that time, I said it's set up perfectly as far as how I would have written it as well. I would have written it for him to lose to Sami Zayn at Money in the Bank to set up a rematch for SummerSlam for Braun Breaker to then take the belt at SummerSlam. So here we are. And there's a perfect chance for that to come true, exactly how I would have liked to see it come true. And to that point, I think that Braun Breaker absolutely leaves Cleveland as the WWE Intercontinental Champion. I think the match I think it ends up being one of the best matches of the night. Anybody who's seen Sami Zayn in a PLE knows that he's not going down easy. So yeah, I think this is going to be one of the best matches. But I think in the end, regardless of what it takes, because Breaker is willing to fight dirty, even though Sami Zayn is not. And I think that is what's going to cost Sami Zayn is the fact it's the morality compass, right? Sami Zayn is not willing to go that way. But if you looked at Braun Breaker over the course of the last several weeks with the attacks, not just on Sami Zayn, but on whoever got in his fucking way. But then you look at the promo that he cut on Raw last night. Like Josh said, by hook or by crook, that belt is leaving on the shoulder of Braun Breaker.
That man said I underestimated him. He said I underestimated him because I thought I was fighting a fucking comedian. That promo was so fucking good, dog. That promo was so good.
He was like, while you're over there preparing with comedians, I'm in the gym. I was like, I'm training like a dog. I was like, okay, this dude is out for blood, and I think he gets that belt. Period.
And it's really sad that that Braun Breaker's dealing with the ailment that he is, but I think he will come back ultimately very strong. You guys are aware, right?
And this is a setup. Come on, Josh.
No, so
go ahead. I'll fall for it.
Yeah.
If you, this is confirmed by multiple sources, but he went to a doctor recently, and apparently he's got that fucking dog in him, dude.
I told you. It's a
setup. Is a serious medical condition, and he's coming for Sami Zayn, no doubt.
KD, we were just sitting here talking about how Sami Zayn was preparing with comedy shows, and you fell for the setup.
I did.
And the punchline was right there. I knew it.
I'm new here. Give me a break. All right, let's shift our attention to the WWE Women's Championship match between Nia Jax and Bayley. Bayley is, of course, a reigning champion. Bayley is a underdog for this match. Plus 130 to retain her championship belt. Nia Jax is minus 170. The queen of the ring gets her opportunity at SummerSlam. That is what's on the table. So let's go with that. Who is going to emerge victorious here?
Bayley doesn't drop this belt to Nia Jax. She just doesn't. What's going to happen is that she's going to beat Nia Jax, and then Tiffy Time is going to cash in, and she's going to take the belt off of Bayley, and that's going to create not only a three-way feud, but it's going to completely fracture Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, which creates two clear and present dangers to Tiffany Stratton, which is Nia Jax wanting that belt because she wants revenge. She's going to look at Tiffany Stratton like, the fuck are you doing? This is supposed to be mine. And then Bayley is obviously going to be coming back for her with it. So Bayley Bayley keeps it, and then it gets taken from her by Tiffany. And then Josh absolutely does backflips and cartwheels because
Tiffy Time.
This fucking guy.
Oh man. So what do you think, Josh? Do you think that's what's going to happen?
No, I am leaning towards Nia taking the belt. I think that what
in the Dwayne Johnson are you talking about?
I think Nia Jax has enough heat to take that belt. And I don't think Bayley's doing enough with it. We've talked about it before. I believe that was episode 2, where we kind of went on a tangent about, the reign so far of Bayley just has left a lot to be desired.
I don't believe her. I don't believe her. I'm new, and I don't believe her.
And she's great. She really is. And this championship reign notwithstanding,
you believe them cakes.
I believe them cakes. I believe in them cakes. But Nia Jax will take this belt, I believe, and I think Tiffany Stratton is going to assist Nia Jax in taking this belt. And when Bayley and Nia Jax have a rematch potentially down the road, that's when Tiffy comes for that belt. I
don't think Tiffy waits, bro. I think one way or another. So let's say Nia Jax wins it. I think Tiffy cashes in on Nia and then takes it off of Nia.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was this your prediction or was I talking just now?
It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter.
All right, so here's my spin. Here's my spin, and this is where I love it because y'all get to yell at me and be like, "KD, shut the fuck up! You're a newbie. You don't know what the hell."
I was going to say that anyway. Right? So, yeah.
I mean, obviously. So what if the storyline goes, Nia Jax beats Bayley, right? Tiffy doesn't interfere. She doesn't cash in, but rather after Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, Tiffy cashes in there, and then Nia and Tiffy are the two champions. Like, would that not take things and the storyline to a whole nother level? Would the WWE ever dare do something like that? Is my question for you guys.
I think that the storyline is too perfect right now with Liv and Rhea. I don't think that they messed that up at this point. It is an interesting take. It is an interesting prediction, and I'm not going to fault you for that. That's like, newbie or not, man. That's a solid prediction. If the storyline between Liv and Rhea wasn't so personal,
right?
I don't think that she interferes during this storyline in particular. Maybe down the road.
I think
that shit would take the roof off. I mean, I know it's a stadium, but it would take the roof off.
It would be right? Totally shocking for sure.
Right.
It would. In the realm of unpredictability, it'd be up there. It'd be one of the most shocking moments of any PLE in recent memory. But to Josh's point, Rhea or Liv, this is a culmination of months.
Well, don't go there. We're not ready to predict that one yet. We're not ready to predict that one yet because there's so many pieces now. I just don't want you to reveal.
Let me put it.
Yet.
Yeah, nice, well done. Let me put it this way: I don't think you, like Josh said, I don't think you want to mess with that storyline.
Okay,
you don't mess with that storyline. It's almost at its first payoff because I think this is going to be paying off all the way through WrestleMania. That's also why I think they haven't aimed Tiffy at the women's world championship yet, because that's the women's world championship. They haven't aimed it at that particular belt. They've kept her squarely aimed at Bayley. Hell, even when they did the Super Show tour in Mexico and she tried to cash in, it was on Bayley again. So they've made sure that everybody knows that Rhea versus Liv is not going to be interrupted by the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Fair enough. Let's go to that was a match with the Queen of the Ring. So let's shift focus to the King of the Ring, Gunther, Ring General, whatever you want to call him. He is a minus 500 favorite in this match to take the World Heavyweight Championship from Damian Priest, who is obviously the reigning champion. We've all discussed our issues with Damian Priest and this immediate turnaround that ever since the Gunther thing came into focus, he has completely changed direction as he's embraced more of a face persona in this whole battle, being denigrated, called a street thug and Judgment Day, and the whole, obviously, the racial overtones in this entire rivalry that's going on right now that WWE is always willing to capitalize on, especially considering where they started with things. But Damian Priest is a plus 300 underdog in this match. Do you think there's any way that he retains his belt in this match?
I've pivoted on this. I thought it was a pretty foregone conclusion that Gunther was going to take this. But the more I see what's unfolding, I think that the WWE wants to complete this face turn for Damian Priest, and I think there's no better way to do it than for the Priest to defeat the Devil. Now, of course, that could set up a rematch down the road, maybe Survivor Series, maybe even at Bad Blood in Atlanta, who knows, in October. But I think that if you want two things, if you're Triple H and you want to solidify that Damian Priest is not a transitional champion, this is by far the most difficult opponent he's faced in his reign in Gunther, period. And then, based on, like you said, the way this has gone and how messy it's gotten with the racial overtones and the privilege versus the underdog and things like that, I think it's set up for Damian Priest to take it or to keep it from Gunther, and then the pop that he'd receive from the fans in defeating Gunther, who's been disrespecting the entire fans with his racial overtones and his privilege. I think this is how you get Damian Priest over, and then you set up a rematch. But yeah, I think Priest retained.
What about you, Josh?
I'm still going Gunther, and the reason I say this is because as good as Damian Priest has been lately, he has been good, and I had my issues with him at the episode 1. I had my issues with Damian Priest. He's been doing so much better because he is a face, because he has totally made that turn.
Yep, you made
and people are rooting for him.
Yep,
but I think it would be best to put Damian Priest in a position where he's chasing the belt now. He drops the belt in, this would be his third title defense, I'm pretty sure. He defends the title. he loses in a dramatic way. Like I'm thinking like Bret Hart Stone Cold, where it's only by blood loss and going unconscious that Stone Cold drops that match to Bret Hart, especially since we just saw Gunther submit Finn Balor totally unconscious. That's how he won that match.
Right.
I think the writing is on the wall there to make Gunther strong. You use the submissions, everything at his disposal to absolutely beat Damian Priest convincingly, almost overpowers Damian Priest, a big dude himself. And then you have an underdog. Then he just got beat terribly by Gunther. And now you have a babyface chasing a racist champion. You know what I mean? I think that's the most textbook WWE thing that you can do, while also making Gunther even more unstoppable and getting the fans even more behind Damian Priest. That's where I'm at.
So, question for that prediction. In your opinion, doesn't that make Drew McIntyre correct in calling Damian Priest a transitional champion? Because you're right, this is his third title defense. It was Clash at the Castle, and then it was Money in the Bank. But then you look at what happened in those two title defenses, there was someone who interfered. Who was the someone? Okay. If he can defeat Gunther and do it clean without the Judgment Day, do you feel like that would be better for his stock than it would be for him to lose? And then now those who have what Drew McIntyre said in mind, they get to lean forward and say, we knew he couldn't beat the best of the best. You know what I mean?
I think for the overall landscape of wrestling, I think it would be best to not have Gunther drop this match because you've built him up so much on the alternative. I'm not saying it's good for Damian Priest, but I'm saying I think it would be basically worse if you have one of your top heels lose his King of the Ring match. He's King of the Ring. He's done all of this. He just lost the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. If you have him drop this, it's like, okay, he's a bad guy, but like, how bad is he? Are we trying to build him up? Or does he lose to a so-so champion? You know?
Well, I get what you're saying. I guess my thing is, if you look at the two brands, Gunther can stand to lose this, and he's not going to lose one bit of stock in the WWE universe because he is what he is, and we all know what he is. He's one of the best in-ring talents. He's a tour de force, right? And he can then, for the first time, on the red brand, he can actually be in pursuit because he's never really in pursuit. Whereas Damian, if Damian loses, it could be a damaging blow to him that he has to climb back from. So I just feel like Gunther is more or less kind of bulletproof, and he's never been put in the position of, oh my God, I lost and I have to prove myself again. Damian's been stuck in that trap all the way up to this conversation we're having of constantly trying to prove himself. So I just feel like it's time to allow him the benefit of the doubt and being able to stand tall and say, I did prove myself. And then in the rematch, you let Gunther do what he does.
I think it's great that I think there are great points in both directions.
I think you're both making great points. I lean towards Priest losing. I think for now I lean towards Josh's perspective that it makes more sense for him to chase getting the championship back. As far as the storylines, that's just like that argument just made more sense to me listening here. So we'll see how that turns out. I don't even think that we need to spend much time on this next one because I know how you guys feel. I know how everybody feels. I know
which one you're going with. Come on.
Nobody likes Logan fucking Paul.
I was going to say, let me talk to you.
No. Nobody likes that dude, right? I mean, it's going to be his hometown. I wish that they put a line on for betting whether or not he gets booed in his hometown. Because I think he does.
He has been before. He has?
Okay, there you go.
No one likes him anywhere.
Yeah. Anywhere. Like, I don't think his parents like. I don't think his brother likes him, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Who's winning, LA Knight or Logan Paul? Don't even go into a soliloquy. Just tell me who's going to win.
It's LA Knight. He's past due to have some gold.
Absolutely.
He's kind of been not backburnered, but he was redirected several times, and he should have had a belt long before now. And this it sets up perfectly. It's LA Knight.
Right. Paul is the perfect champion for him to dethrone. Like, you couldn't script that knock on wood. But you couldn't script that any better. For him to be focused on one specific champion, Logan Paul is absolutely the guy that LA Knight needs to knock off. He is the match is going to be incredible when he wins that match. So we can move on from there. Now let's move on to the next one. Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. Cody Rhodes is a minus 5,000 favorite. Like, I don't even know why anybody would bet. I mean, if plus 1,200, I can understand why you would put $10 on it just to get a quick buck. But Solo Sikoa is plus 1,200. Is there any chance that Rhodes? Okay, let me change how I'm going to say this. Is there any chance that Rhodes loses the belt? Because I could easily see the Bloodline getting involved in, getting disqualification or something like that. But is there any chance of Rhodes losing the belt in this match and being pinned legally? Any chance?
Absolutely. I think there's this thing about the long title reigns is just so foreign to me because I grew up in the Attitude Era where Mankind was champion for 3 days and then The Rock won it the next night. I don't much care for the long title reigns. I know that's become the identity of the WWE since I've kind of like come in and out of wrestling. I think it kind of started with CM Punk whenever he held the belt, or no, Alberto Del Rio before him.
Yeah,
but I'm not crazy about the long title reigns. I wish it was a little more. I wish they changed a little more frequently. Yep. Absolutely, but I don't think dropping the belt. I don't think they will drop the belt. I don't think that's going to happen to Cody Rhodes. But I don't think it would be a bad thing if he loses it and then fights Solo Sikoa on the next pay-per-view and wins it at Bad Blood. I think Bad Blood is the next one, right?
October. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he wins the Bad Blood rematch against Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline. I don't know. I think I could see the writing on the wall. I don't think he needs to win the championship to solidify him anymore. He's the biggest babyface in the company, possibly in all of wrestling. And I even told Patrick this, is he feels like an 80s wrestler that is stuck in the 2020s.
That's
he feels vintage. It feels right. I don't need him to hold the belt. He is the top guy no matter what. If he drops it, no big deal to me. He will win it back. He will have it again come WrestleMania, come Royal Rumble, all the important things. If there's some transition here and there, if there's the belt changing hands a couple of times, I'm not going to mind that. I don't think that will denigrate him at all.
What about you, Pat?
There's no way in heaven, hell, or earth in fucking between that Cody Rhodes finishes his story in the fashion in which he did, going through everything that he went through to get it, which includes WrestleMania 39 and what happened there. Going through the final boss to go through Roman Reigns, only to drop his belt at SummerSlam to Solo fucking Sikoa. So for me, it's not necessarily about, because I do, and I told Josh this as well. I agree. I don't like the long title reigns, but at the same time, for me, it's contextual. So it's as much about when they drop the belt as much as it is who they drop the belt to. And Solo Sikoa, he can't carry Cody Rhodes' boxer briefs, let alone justifiably think that he's on Cody's level and he can take that belt. Now, yeah, obviously the Bloodline can interfere and cost Cody the belt, but as far as storylines go, I think that is such a hawk tour in the face of Cody Rhodes to say, yeah, you finished the story and you did all of this only to lose to the junior varsity captain. Like, no. So what I think happens is, I think you're looking at a situation where the Bloodline interferes and things get as close to Cody Rhodes possibly losing the belt as timing will allow, and then it happens. The pop. Roman Reigns comes in, and when Roman Reigns comes in, you see Solo shook Sikoa, right? And that distracts him completely. Cody hits him with the crossroads, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. I doubt 3 times because Roman Reigns gets 3. Solo gets 1, right? And I think that's how the match ends. And, Roman is back. And then now we really have the beginning of the Civil War. So I think, Solo Sikoa, because they want to establish him as a force, right? So I think they allow him to push Cody to the limit with the help of the Bloodline. But then Roman Reigns comes in, and that's what actually, that distraction helps Cody retain.
I will say that is the right answer, Pat. That I read the script. That's exactly what they're doing.
You like that? Okay, cool. Bet.
It's
you hear
funny
that,
Paul?
You mentioned. You hear that, Paul?
It's funny that you mentioned, that he doesn't deserve 3 crossroads, because there's actually a wager. There's actually a wager on how many crossroads Cody will nail in this match. Over 2.5 crossroads is the betting favorite at -175. Under 2.5 crossroads, so 2 or less, is plus 135.
Do they all have to be on Solo? Because can he hit Jacob with one, Solo with one?
Exactly.
Tonga with one.
I'm glad you asked, because there is no prerequisite on who he hits the crossroads.
Okay, so then you might hit
anybody in the bloodline.
Might see 4 if that's the case.
Make sure that you're following all of us on Twitter. I am at KD Drummond NFL. That is at Voice of the Star for Pat Walker, and that is Josh W. Rodriguez for the Josh. Make sure you're following us, and of course the main account and New Wrestling, because we will be live tweeted in some form or fashion throughout SummerSlam. So make sure that you are paying attention and getting all of our quick takes. We will be right back after this quick break. All right. We appreciate y'all staying with us on this latest and greatest episode of the And New Wrestling Podcast. And it is time to talk about the top 2 matches for SummerSlam 2024. And I guess that really answers the question that we had last show, whether or not the action in the ring was more important than the storylines. And I think there was a consensus here that the storylines are what make us as interested in the wrestling, that the actual in-ring action, right? So our top 2 matches, one of them isn't even for one of the belts. And that's the next one that I want to go to. We want to talk about CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. This feud has been going on since forever, right? So the rivalry is just long. CM Punk has made it his life's mission to interfere and keep Drew McIntyre from having a belt, which is why this isn't even for one of the belts. And now we have the interjection of Seth Rollins, who is, to me, the funniest wrestler that I've ever seen in my life, right? Like, so everything that he does, I mean, from every outfit, from the way that he talks, from everything about this dude, just
Josh loves his laugh, by the way. Yeah, Josh loves his laugh.
He is a hilarious character in the WWE. And he is going to be the special guest referee. And he told him, he was like, if there's supposed to be a count out, I might count to 10, I might count to 20, I might count to 1,000,000, I might slow count you, I might allow you to do some illegal shit. Like, I really don't care for either one of you fuckers. So this is going to be my rules, which means this might be the greatest grudge match in the history of wrestling with this dude in charge. So right now, Drew McIntyre is the betting favorite. He is -325 to escape with a victory. CM Punk coming back from his injury, +215. If you feel that Punk is going to win, you could make some money. Talk to me about what you guys see happening in this match. Not just who's going to win, but how crazy is this thing going to get?
This shit is going to be bonkers, man. It's going to be bonkers. I have mold this in my head a million different ways, and every single time I've done it, I've not been able to come up with a conclusion on how this match ends. Is CM Punk going to win because in any given moment Drew McIntyre does something that pisses Seth off, and Seth is like, okay, well, the hell with you, I'll give it to Punk? Or is his hatred for Punk maybe slightly more than it is for Drew? And I have no clue. For all we know, Seth being the mega troll that he clearly is being, like last night, he's sitting there posing like, how do I look like a damn snitch? Right? For all I know, Seth is going to let the match go for like 45 minutes and then count them both out.
Right.
Or tell the official to ring the bell while they're both in the ring, like trying to get up, saying that, oh, it's over. I just qualify them both just because I feel like, I don't know, but it's going to be probably the most entertaining match of the entire event. And I don't have a prediction. How can you predict this? I don't know, man.
I totally agree. It's going to be the most entertaining match of the night. I love the idea that Seth Rollins is making his own special guest referee rules. Like that to me is genius. That's genius on
absolutely.
a part of the writing staff and part of Triple H for making Seth Rollins matter in the grand scheme of things. Because it's like, yes, you need to see Drew and CM Punk. Finally, you get this match, but we also need to throw in Seth Rollins, kind of. But like it seemed like an afterthought until Seth's promo on Monday night, which was awesome. Great.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Seth Rollins fan, but he really killed it. And stop it. It's Pat doing the laugh that kills me. Actually, it's not even Seth Rollins. It's Pat trying to be Seth Rollins. Oh God. Anyways, not visionary, Pat. Not
am the revolutionary.
No. So. And we didn't talk about this either, but Drew absolutely killed his promo on Monday night.
He smoked him.
He best Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre absolutely bodied CM Punk on the mic, which is not something to be taken lightly. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen very often. And I was even telling Pat this when we were watching Monday night, is that Drew has come a long way in just this feud. And CM Punk was right when he said, I've made your career matter, basically. Like hurting me is the best thing you've ever done. And he's not wrong because Drew is on a different level now.
Yeah.
And to me, just looking at the size comparison, CM Punk brought it up himself. He's like, I know you're bigger than me. I know you're faster than me. He is, though. I want to see Drew beat his ass, man. I think CM Punk deserves it.
Yeah.
Anti-hero or not, he's been a thorn in the side of Drew McIntyre since the Royal Rumble. I need to see Drew to build him up for the rest of this run, wherever it takes him, because you know the writing on the wall is Cody and Punk. We need to build Drew up for whatever the hell he's going to do next, because that's the future at this point. Yeah. And he needs to take that W, whatever the cost. I want to see it happen. I'm desperately wanting to see him beat CM Punk in this match.
You know, the irony here is this is quite literally like Batman versus the Joker, in that, you know, the Joker can look at Batman and say, I'm the reason you're relevant. And Batman can look at the Joker and say, I'm the reason you're relevant. And they're both right. They're both right. Josh makes an excellent point. CM Punk has absolutely taken Drew McIntyre, or forced Drew McIntyre to take the next steps in being the superstar, the megastar, actually, not to take that moniker away from LA Knight, but he's really just the best Drew McIntyre we've ever seen. But then it's also true, hands down, but it's also true that if not for Drew McIntyre keeping CM Punk in his promos, keeping his name in his mouth, even when CM Punk would be absent for 4 weeks, 5 weeks at a time as he was, you know, recovering from that torn tricep, then you don't really talk about CM Punk until he comes back, if it's not for Drew keeping him in the conversation. So it's crazy because Batman and Joker, as much as they hate each other, they need each other. That's what this has become, and that's why it's so epic. As
somebody who's coming from the outside in, I started following wrestling. Is that a pause moment?
That is a pause moment.
That was a pause moment.
All right. Okay.
That was a pause moment.
As somebody looking from the outside, I came in after WrestleMania 40, right? So I've only known this Drew CM Punk thing. I had no idea that Drew wasn't over the way that he is now when I came into this. I had no idea. I thought he was
had no real direction.
Echelon,
he was walking to the fucking ring with a sword, man.
Yeah, he had no real direction.
I had no clue until I started doing research on what the background was. So what you guys are saying is absolutely true. This rivalry gave me the impression that he's been one of the top flight guys for many years. But what I see for him now, since I've learned that he really hasn't gotten over, he absolutely is on a path towards a heavyweight championship, right? He's in that whole frame of the size of Damian Priest and Gunther and Cody Rhodes. And like, he can easily be that guy once he gets through this. But for Saturday, it's a Seth Rollins show. I have no doubt the person that we're going to be coming out of that match talking about is whatever Seth Rollins did to help whoever win that match. And to me, that's just a brilliant way to execute a storyline. Like, you've had this rivalry for so long, and honestly, that's how you keep it going, right? Because you can still take this rivalry. They finally got in the ring. They finally got to see each other, and now Seth Rollins fucked somebody over, right? So you're going to be able to take that on to the next storyline and for the next several months into the next set of PLEs, and it's just a phenomenal bit of writing. So personally,
and who, KD? That's the question. And who does he screw over? Because look at this freaking hate triangle. Okay. Right. Drew hates Seth. Drew hates Punk. Punk hates Seth. Punk hates Drew. Seth hates Drew. Seth hates Punk. There's no favoritism. Where does this go? None. Triple H, you got me.
Absolutely. What you said is whoever Seth feels like in the moment. Like, he might cheat for one early and then cheat for the other because he doesn't like the way they look at him.
Because he wants to troll them.
Exactly.
He's going to be a troll, and that is
it's phenomenal storytelling. Phenomenal storytelling. I love it. I think Drew escapes with the win just because CM Punk is rusty and he hasn't wrestled in a while. So I think that they will make that a subplot to the storyline that Punk can come back and be like, this was my first match back, those sorts of things. But
no,
it's a toss up to me.
I have to disagree with that in the aspect of because his first match back was actually Royal Rumble, and that's where he tore his tricep, right? CM Punk, because he came back Survivor Series November, first match back was Royal Rumble. So I could see CM Punk looking at Paul Triple H Levesque and saying, okay, this is only my second match back, but you brought me back to be one of the headliners, to be one of the heavyweights, and I've remained relevant in doing so. Shouts out to Drew McIntyre for helping me remain relevant in doing so. But he lost Royal Rumble. It was between him and Cody in the final moment. So if he drops this one, his first two matches back are losses. That's a rough one to swallow if you're CM Punk. But at the same time, again, Drew is so over in this version of Drew, and Seth is going to mega troll this entire thing that you really don't know how this goes. I do think there's an escape hatch here. I can't figure out what the escape hatch is, wherein neither Drew nor CM Punk loses this match, and because of how. But I mean, as far as specifically, I don't know how it happens or what the timing is, but there's an escape hatch here. There is.
Could we see something like them battling outside the ring and eventually Seth just disqualifies both of them?
That's what I'm saying.
Because they've gone into the locker rooms with the fight. Something like that. Yeah,
maybe he counts both out. Yeah,
I can see that happening. All right,
you could also see Seth probably hitting both of them with the stomp
himself.
Right, and then telling them to ring the bell because they're not medically able to continue.
That's what makes this so attractive of a pairing between all three of them, because he could easily perform wrestling skullduggery on either one of them, and fellas, it's all legal, right?
What if he baits him, he punches one, stomps the other, and then both of them attack him, and he disqualifies both.
There you go. Both of y'all get the fuck out my ring, right?
Like, they hit the official. I can't wait.
It's
man.
beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm really excited about that matchup. Almost as much as I'm excited about the women's championship match. Finally, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan get in the ring. To me, this is the best storyline since I've been following wrestling, because it's literally like the love triangle thing, because everybody's looking at Dom Mysterio like, why the fuck are y'all arguing over?
We've got a hate triangle and a love triangle.
He's such a fucking weirdo, right? He's such a fucking weirdo. And for them to be going this ham over that dude is just fucking comical. I don't know how I felt about Liv's promo with the crying and the fire and all that. That was the first time. You liked it?
I loved it. It's the scorned woman angle. It's the scorned woman angle.
So let me clarify. I get the angle. That's absolutely the way to play. I don't know if she played that role as well as she's played the flirtatious, I'm stealing your man, vindictive role. Like, I didn't believe her kayfabe as much as I have every step of this way.
When she was the evil vixen.
Right. I'm a little hesitant to see whether or not they're going to continue that storyline. And for that reason, and I know we've discussed it in the past, we've talked about whether or not Dom is going to interfere, and if he's going to interfere, who's he going to interfere for? The many ways that storyline can go, whether he really has something going on with Liv and they're trolling Rhea. Like, all of that is on the table. But talk to me, first of all, just from a pure wrestling standpoint, what you expect to see. Do you see those two people as kind of being in the same ballpark? Do you see Rhea and Liv being of the same caliber when it comes to actual wrestling, or will the storyline be what carries the decision in this match?
I'm gonna let Josh tap in on this, but I'm just gonna say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad the page isn't monetized just yet, because can you hear that music in the background?
We can't hear it. No. You
okay,
got good.
Good.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
it might get louder here in a second.
Okay, go ahead, Josh. Yeah, it's getting louder. So
okay, can you rephrase the question for me, Katie?
Okay, yeah,
it was kind of a long one.
My question is, how do you feel these two opponents are wrestling wise? Are they on the same caliber? Is Liv able to wrestle with Rhea, or will this decision be more about how they want to further the storyline as opposed to who really deserves to be the champion right now?
I mean no disrespect when I say this. Liv is not on the same level that Rhea is on in the ring.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean that Liv isn't good. She's fucking great. But Rhea is the best wrestler in the world, as a women wrestler in the world. And promos even too. She just knocks it out of the park. She is the best at what she does. So Liv will have to. What's that?
There's one better, but continue.
Yeah, let me finish my point, Pat. Jesus.
No.
Golly.
The disrespect to Charlotte. Stop it.
This dude.
Continue.
In the world right now. Come on, man. Charlotte
is she in the world?
Yet. She ain't around yet.
She might be on Saturday.
She's not in the WWE universe. I'll say that.
She might be on Saturday.
She might be. But all that to say, Liv Morgan will need to. It has to be story based. The feud obviously is very heavily leaning into the story, and they haven't even made contact yet. Do we even know that Rhea Ripley is medically cleared to perform at SummerSlam? Pat brought this up the other day when we were watching. So I'm thinking that if Liv wins this match, it has to be with the help of Dominic Mysterio and the Judgment Day to like carry the situation and turn it into a bloodbath for Rhea Ripley, where she's embarrassed and she is turned away by her family, the Judgment Day, and Liv Morgan takes over as the representation for Judgment Day. She joins the faction, kicks Rhea out. Excuse me. That's the only way I could see Rhea dropping this belt. It's not going to happen in the ring between the two of them, if that makes sense.
What about you?
I do agree. As much as I love my Jersey girl, objectively speaking, in ring, she's not on Rhea's level. And in all jokes aside, I do believe that Rhea is one of the best women's wrestlers in all of the world across any promotion. I will always, not always, but until further notice, I will defer to the Queen Charlotte, right, when it comes to that. But at the same time, and by the way, sidebar, can't wait for Charlotte to come back. She has hinted at a return soon. I don't know if that means SummerSlam, but Charlotte versus Rhea, I need more of that. Okay,
that's WrestleMania right there.
Yeah, that was on track. That was on track until Charlotte tore her ACL. But as far as Liv, I think Liv retains, but I think Liv retains because Dom tries to help guarantee that Rhea takes the belt, and much like he did in the two occasions where he tried to help, air quote, Becky Lynch, he cost her both times. I think he cost Rhea the belt, and then if we really want to have some fun with the unpredictability, he costs her the belt. He feigns, disappointment, and he's apologizing and everything, and then he turns around on some Kendrick Lamar stuff, and he's like Thriller, the Thriller video as he's walking away. He looks into the camera like, and then it really kicks off, because I feel like there's something hiding up Liv Morgan's sleeve, as there has been throughout this entire storyline. And I think that I love the scored woman angle. I do agree with you that she sold the Evil Vixen better, but this was fine for me, given that she's not going to have to continue to sell it more than 6 days. Right? She cut the promo. She doesn't have to cut another one because SmackDown is up next. You won't see Liv there. So you won't see Liv again until her and Dom pull off whatever I think they're working on pulling off against Rhea. and we'll go from there. But I think Dom calls for Rhea.
Right now, Liv Morgan is a minus 600 favorite to retain her championship. Rhea
Oh
Ripley is
wow.
plus 350 in order to take the title from her.
So I think
the people are listening. I think they believe you. More interesting than any of the match odds that we've had, the odds on how Dominic Mysterio interferes in Rhea
oh,
Ripley's
that's a
match.
thing too?
There are odds on how he'll interfere.
I want to hear it. Give that to me.
Okay. With a chair, plus 250. With the belt, plus easy. 300.
He's a chair guy.
With his fist, plus 300. With a kick, plus 400. With brass knuckles, plus 700. A table, I don't know how he was gonna break out the table. Like, what the hell? But that's plus 1,000. Whether he distracts a referee, which is where I would put my money on this, plus 1,200 distract the referee. And then you guys are going to have to explain this one to me. At plus 3,300, what the fuck is Mr. Fuji salt? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is Mr. Fuji? I saw that. I'm like, I might just throw $10 on it, and I don't even know what the fuck that is. What is Mr. Fuji salt? Does anybody know what that is supposed to be about? Is that like a gift that he has?
Chime in the comments if you know what Mr. Fuji salt is.
Yeah, help
in the
comments.
If you know, you know.
Help a brother out, because I am totally lost on that one. But I'm going to throw $10 down on that just because I just like taking fucking underdogs and flyers on stuff.
Dude, listen, Dom has he slid a chair to Becky not once but twice. He slid a chair to Zelina Vega, right? That's his thing. So it's a chair. It's a chair.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I got to step out for just a second.
Yep, no worries. That's plus 250. That's plus 250 that he's going to sneak the chair in. So that is going to be a very interesting.
What's the odds on distracting the ref?
Plus 1,200. Like, to me, that seems like the easiest thing.
Yeah,
right?
That should be right behind the chair.
Like, I mean, that's the easiest thing. He jumps up on the ring, he argues. I mean, that's every single match with somebody on the side of the ring.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know why that's so far.
I don't get how that's plus 1,200.
Why they feel like that's so far fetched when that's easy. That should be easy money, but okay. But yeah, I think he's going for the chair. However you want to slice it, I do believe that he is 100% going to. Well, I think we all agree he's going to interfere, but his interference is going to cost Rhea, and that's what's really just going to shatter that whole relationship. And then it'll come out, whether it be immediately or Raw after the PLE, that it turned out that he and Liv were in cahoots the whole time, and the whole "I hate you" that was all a part of it, etc. It's just it's really convenient that he would go that hard at trying to humiliate her after. I mean, we saw him in Mexico.
He could have done it so many other times. That's what I mean.
Right?
Like,
no, we don't believe you.
To turn her
you
down.
Need more people, dog. You need more people. You're up to something.
She had that man being scissored on TV. Okay, she was scissoring that man on TV.
Yeah,
you had the opportunity to tell her that you don't fuck with her already. So I am of the same belief.
Not to mention the tweets, like Rhea said, she was like, "I've been watching your social media." Yeah. You sus, dog. You sus.
I don't think he's walking out the ring on Rhea's arm this time. But stranger things have happened, so we'll see. This is really my first. But like also, this is the first one that I'm invested in with the storyline.
Let me also say this: don't be don't go into SummerSlam without Finn Balor on your mind in some way, shape, form, or capacity. Because if you look at it, number one, he is one half of the tag team champions because of Liv Morgan. Yep. He and Liv have history because before he was indoctrinated into the Judgment Day, it was AJ Styles, Liv Morgan, and Finn Balor going up against the Judgment Day. Okay. So they have that relationship. And then when you fast forward and you look at how Finn and Damian have had friction lately, and then not so recently, last week, I believe, it was Finn basically pulled up on Rhea because he felt like Rhea was trying to protect Jey Uso from Dom Mysterio. So I just feel like that the Finn Balor angle is there kind of hovering over this whole situation. And he might be, and we're talking about something that Liv might have cooking with Dom. She might have something cooking with Finn. I just keep Finn in mind. I just think that there's something there.
That's a real interesting angle. I got to ask you before we cut out for the day. Do you have any thoughts? I mean, there's so many things, so many ways that this can go. Do you have any thoughts outside of Roman Reigns or Dominic or Finn interfering, or something along the bloodlines? Do you have any thoughts as far as something out of the ordinary happening in this PLE, or are we going to get the 7 matches plus the expected levels of interference? Because the storylines are self-containing, right? I mean, you can have a outstanding PLE without anything else happening. You don't even need to bring Roman Reigns back for this PLE to be a rousing success, right? It's not necessary, although most people think it will happen in some capacity. He will either be mentioned or show up or something along the lines of Roman Reigns happen to this PLE. But outside of that, do you have any predictions, anything that's crazy that you're looking forward to, that you're expecting to happen that everybody might not be talking about yet?
I kind of dropped an Easter egg on it a few minutes ago. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Charlotte Flair returns in SummerSlam. That's been stuck in my head for months now, and it's been quite a while since she tore her ACL.
Okay.
She's been posting update videos regularly. The last video she posted, go on the Sporting News, the WWE section, and you'll see I wrote a story on it. It was her about to lace up her boots, her CF boots. So I feel like that's the biggest hint that we've gotten to from Charlotte Flair, in that she's in the ring. Now the question becomes, how long has she been in the ring, right? How long has she been training? And really, is there a better PLE for her to return from? Because this is one of the big four. The big four, you have SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania. And the pop would be much more massive if it's a SummerSlam return for her than if it's like Bad Blood, or if it's one of the other non-big four. So,
right.
If she doesn't return now and you want the biggest pop, then she'd have to wait until November for Survivor Series. But looks like she's approaching full health, and she might be. So you talk about the Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley feud and that fight. Again, for those that, like yourself, Katie, who kind of tapped in most recently over the past, 3 or 4 months, Rhea and Charlotte were on a collision course. They had already had a title match. Rhea took the belt off of Charlotte. Okay. And they were on a collision course for a rematch at WrestleMania, and Charlotte tore her ACL. Okay, well, if Rhea does, not going to say somehow, because she could really take the belt. I just predict Liv will retain it. But if Rhea takes this belt, then just imagine the pop if Charlotte Flair, her music, drops. She walks out and she has the mic and she just looks at Rhea and she was like, my turn. Or unfinished business type deal. You know what I mean? I'm with that.
Because it's Charlotte and John Cena are chasing Ric Flair's. They're chasing Ric Flair's all-time championship number, right? Charlotte's close to her dad's. Okay.
Doesn't Charlotte have 14, I believe?
The record's 16 or 17?
I think she has 13 and she needs 14.
Rick has 15 tied with Cena.
Okay, so Cena's trying to break it.
I still think Charlotte only has 13.
Okay.
She still has a little ways to go.
Okay.
All right.
Well, so. Rick is tied with Cena, and Rick said he wants Charlotte to be the one to break it. But when Charlotte comes back, she's getting somebody's title. Okay. Because she's also, I can't remember what title it is. She's short one particular title of being Grand Slam champion. I can't remember which one it is. But yeah, she's getting the belt when she comes. And hopefully she comes back to SummerSlam.
Josh, the question that I posed to No C was, outside of the expected appearances that everybody, obviously we think that we're going to get something along the lines of a Roman Reigns appearance or reference or something of that sort. We think Dom is going to interfere. Is there anything that you predict that's out of the ordinary? Because the PLE is going to be able to stay on itself with this heavy hitter lineup of matches. But is there anything outside of that you think might happen on SummerSlam, during SummerSlam? Yeah,
I got you. I think The Miz turns heel. I think as the host of SummerSlam, he's had R-Truth behind him the whole time, and they've been a great tag team. And I think R-Truth annoys The Miz to the point where he has to turn heel in front of his home crowd and gets some heat that way because everybody loves R-Truth. Or alternatively, maybe R-Truth turns heel and gives us a final crazy R-Truth heel run, which I think was underappreciated whenever he did do it. I don't know if you remember this, Pat, but the whenever he had like a little Jimmy, the R-Truth as a heel was hilarious and weird, and he like smoked cigarettes on live television. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Bro. He was
wild.
So this whole, sure. Has he always been this space cadet? Like, has that always been the thing with him?
More or less, yeah.
Okay, all right.
He's been
doing it for like 30 years.
Yeah, he's never been grounded. He's always been just out there. Good or bad, face or heel, he's always been R-Truth.
Okay,
yeah,
because he seems
good
like
R-Truth.
He seems like he would be completely oblivious to whether or not he's coming across as a face or a heel. Like, he just wouldn't get that he's doing shit that would be seen as heel stuff. Has that kind of been the thing with him? Like, he just does him no matter
what?
He's
on a different planet, bro. Different planet.
Yeah, absolutely. But I could
Zero
see
self-awareness.
Absolutely none. I could see a heel turn for either The Miz or R-Truth at SummerSlam.
That could be why they pivoted. Josh and I were talking about this on yesterday. We were trying to figure out why they basically set it up for there to be a tag team match as far as the R-Truth and the Miz possibly regaining their titles at SummerSlam in Cleveland. Because if you go back to when Liv Morgan manipulated R-Truth into getting that match, they lost. The backstage interview, Miz was furious, and then R-Truth kind of dropped the ha-ha and went straight serious, and he was like, it's time to get back to basics. SummerSlam, your backyard, Cleveland, we'll get the belts back. That pretty much set the stage for a tag team title match. But then
there's
now
no
you
match.
now you look at Raw yesterday, and there's Miz in his presidential suit saying he's going to host a match, and we're like, oh, well, Triple H slid this one away from us without anybody saying anything. So I think that's a good point. That'd be a good surprise because they don't have a match. So maybe that's freeing up Miz to turn heel by turning on R-Truth. And if he turns on R-Truth, then that's mega heel. Miz will be back at that. And he did say recently that he prefers to be heel. Miz did. So that could.
And if you have him kind of aim again for the Intercontinental belt, potentially with LA Knight having the belt, and you get a program with LA Knight.
I like what you're cooking. I like what you're cooking.
Come on, man.
I like what you're cooking. I like that.
Right.
I like that a lot. I like it a lot.
We have had
we
an
need
absolutely
to write for the WWE.
We've had don't get me started. We've had a great show, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, this is the And New Wrestling Podcast. Make sure that you're subscribing on YouTube. I don't know what you're doing if you're not, because it is absolutely the best thing ever, the best thing in the history of history. So smash that subscribe button, hit those notifications so you don't miss any of the videos, any of the shorts. Follow on every single social media platform And New Wrestling, except for Instagram, which is And New Wrestling Pod. Make sure you're following the main Twitter account to keep track. We will be live tweeting during the SummerSlam match. We might have to fight over who got control of the account during SummerSlam.
Really, there's no telling. There's no telling who just fired a tweet off.
You might get alternating tweets between different perspectives while things are happening. We might just give it to you that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to sign every tweet that we do that's live tweet during Andy.
No, so man, I want to keep them guessing.
You want to keep it a mystery?
Keep it a mystery. We'll make it like a Randy Orton where it's like the account hears voices and it's said, and you just don't know which personality you're getting. So let's have fun with that way. See if you can guess who tweeted that tweet that you're seeing. There you go.
There you go. We appreciate y'all as always for tuning in to another episode. We will be back next week. Make sure you're tuning in. We're out of here. Salute. And